This is very much like a Mega Man game. With its own little twists and stuff. It plays very much like Mega Man. It looks very much like Mega Man. You have bosses that you can go up against like Mega Man. And the whole experience is very Mega Man-esque. The weapon system is first on the list, and I hope I get a chance to sort of show you that in more aspects. But the weapons you have are so much more intricate in this, and play a big part, even in the jumping. So when I jump normally, I have to press up and weapon attack to sort of get extra height. You know, and you pick up some crazy weapons like a hockey stick here. Look, let's hit this guy through the actual wall. Oh, it's not a wall, it's just a door. Hundreds of different weapons, and there's even a mechanic to make it go into thousands. So there's a custom weapon part on this, where you actually draw in the pixels and design the weapon that you want. And the coolest thing about it is that when you do one, when you design your weapon, you can actually fit that into the game for everybody else. So when you get to a certain location where you find a secret weapon inside of a canister, that could be your own personal weapon, or it could be something that any other player who's played this game has designed. So you can get fish, you can get, I don't know, lightsabers, axes, maces, pitchforks. People design all kinds of things. I didn't come across as many naughty things as I thought I would do when people are given that kind of freedom. When you play it, you don't know what kind of attributes the weapon's going to have, whether it's going to have range, or whether it's going to be really small but really powerful. And there's certain things that combat what the weapon can do, to not make, you know, every weapon, well, you know, why don't you max out all the stats? You can't. Yeah, here's your boss. So again, very Mega Man. I think it's got a power as well. Yeah, there you go. So when I hold both buttons, the weapon will break, but then it will activate its power attack. And those power attacks can have all kinds of things, like a shield for a moment in time. It might have a fireball or some sort of screen killing attack. It might just give you a power boost or health back. All of those abilities and powers up do all these kind of things. So you just go in and you draw the pixels, you get to see what it is, you build all... It's very in-depth for what it actually is, where you can just draw over it and create your own weapon. But what's really cool is that my weapon is now online, so if you play this game you might get my sword, which is such a cool idea. And you can make loads of them. You never know what weapon you're going to pick up. You can break weapons to cast spells. You can make your own weapons, which is super cool, and it's very flexible what you can do. It's a mixed bag of level design. So the music's cool, but I never really felt challenged. And this, I just felt like I'm walking forward constantly. And you might get that from me playing this. I just feel I'm constantly walking forward, and I don't know if it's because of the weapons or what, but that nothing seems to be able to stop me, and I just motor through all of these enemies. And I thought it was because maybe it's because I'm easy or whatever. I played on normal, I played on hard. The level design just seems very kind of samey as I go through it all. There's loads of levels on this game, but apart from the aesthetic, what it looks like, and the music, all the levels just seem like you're stomping through it. Everything looks great, and the look of the thing looks great, and the music and everything, you know, the battle system feels really good. It's a bit like if they'd actually got Link's Adventure, Zelda 2, working properly, you know, with ducking and blocking and backstepping and stuff like that. No, I just didn't feel that the level design was really that exciting, which I thought was a real shame. Everything just seems very flat, and I'm kind of just constantly going in a straight line. It's not always the case, and I'm trying to be as constructive as I can in what I mean. Because if I just say, oh yeah, the levels are rubbish, that's not true. The levels are fine, but they just could have been more, considering how cool the rest of the premises is. But all their invention went into weapons design and not so much into the level design itself. And I probably would have appreciated less levels if they were more interesting, rather than the amount, because you get so many levels, rather than the amount, quantity over quality sometimes. I think it's more fun than a Mega Man game. There's a controversial point for you, and let me explain myself. On Mega Man, I think because of the nature of those games, they were designed, because you can complete them in less than an hour and you know your way around them, right? In this, it doesn't need to worry about that. You know, it doesn't need to say, okay, we don't have that much of a game in length, so we have to make it super difficult. It doesn't need to go one-hit kill on spikes, you know, instant death, and you don't have to memorize the levels to be able to get through them. Mega Man, I'd go up this area here and I wouldn't know what's below me, and if I jumped there would be a hole there. You can guarantee it. There would be a hole or spikes, and I would be, oh right, so the next time I get to that bit I'm supposed to drop down straight and then jump over the pit of spikes. If your holes and platforms were reversed in this game, it'll be a Mega Man stage. I think it's more fun. It doesn't have to be artificially difficult by having you try and memorize the levels with trial and error gameplay and, you know, leaps of faith, pit spikes and stuff like that. So I found it when I was playing. I was like, yes, this is what I want. If Mega Man was more like this, I'd play them all constantly. But unless you've played Mega Man a lot, you can find them quite frustrating because you're like, well, how on earth was I supposed to know that? The on-foot sections, as cool as they look at first, with this. So this looks kind of cool, doesn't it? It's like, yeah. As you saw, that was over and done with very quickly. They don't use this mechanic as much as I wanted it to. All of the abilities and everything just seem to go on the Paladin or the robot. Her abilities, they tend to be one gimmick kind of shots like that. I swung over a chasm and then it was over. There might be a few longer bits where you go in and out of pit spikes and stuff, but they get really old really quickly. They do change the pace, which is, you know, it's kind of nice. But they just, I don't know, they just don't feel like they were needed. They didn't need to be there. And that's a crying shame, because the first time you do it you just think, oh, this is so cool, I can get out of the mech and I can squeeze into areas that I can't on other bits, as the mech is too big and bulky. The bosses are really cool, as you can see. Is there not a part where the pilot is the whole focus? No, there isn't. You again, it feels like miss opportunity. Well, I think there is a bit, but it's just not memorable. The thing I remember about this game is all the weapons and stuff, and I just wanted her to be as cool, like getting different power-ups and different abilities, but she doesn't. She literally can swing on those hooks, and she can hit people with the whip, and she's tiny. That's it. And throughout the whole game, that's all you do. And I just wanted her to have more abilities and get more power-ups and stuff like that. He said there is a mode where you just go through the whole game as her and not inside the mech. That's actually an extra unlock mode, like a rearrange mode. But that's not official, you know, I guess that's just a way of making things harder. So you can do that, and again, it's another cool mode to have. Here's another save. So again, I've gone through a little, I've got to go across a chasm. So I've got to do that. I've got to kill a bad guy this time, so that's kind of cool. Recharge my mech, which was on the last one as well, and I'm back. That is all you really do outside of the robot, is just sections constantly that look like that. I mean, why? I mean, there's a few exceptions, like I said, but that's 3 levels now where you've basically seen that I've done the same thing on foot 3 times in a row. And that's what's so disappointing about this game, because it's like, oh my god, if you just would have done something a little bit more. But it didn't. It didn't. There's a lot of reason to revisit this game. So many modes. It's basically several Mega Man games in one. You've got your challenge mode, your boss rush mode. So there's a lot of value for money here, and it doesn't just mean that you have to get good to be able to see it all. Look at this. Look at that. That's maximum effort for that weapon. 4 lines and we're done. Well, clearly this guy was like, I just want a long sword. I don't want to mess about just doing intricate details and design. It looks like a giant piece of rock from Blackpool or something. The weapon system, fantastic, great idea. You can make your own weapons, as you saw before. Some people put more effort into their weapons than others, but when you make your own weapon, it gets uploaded for you to be able to unlock in your own game from other people, and you can do loads of them. And you can change weapons, you can break them to give you special abilities, magic spells, and other buffs and things like that. And it's really cool to see what someone's going to come up with when they put in their weapons and things in your game. I think it's more fun than Mega Man. Mega Man is great when you know what you're doing. When you know the levels, Mega Man is fantastic, but when you're playing Mega Man for the first time, it can be really frustrating. Very trial and error, jumping in and out of spike pits and kind of, you know, endless jumps. You don't know what's going to be there, leaps of faith. But with this, it is more fun. You can play it throughout the whole game and you won't get those kind of frustrations. Doesn't mean you'll come back and play it because of challenge, maybe on the higher skill levels, but it doesn't have that kind of level design to be able to say it is as challenging as a Mega Man game. But it is more fun, I believe, at its core. Strong use of the NES look and its ideas, loads of things to unlock. It's like, it feels like having like 6 Mega Man games in one, with boss rush modes. It uses the pixel style right. It looks like it wasn't just tacked on there for you, make you have nostalgia feels. It actually feels like it should have this look, and that was the best look for it. Cutscenes are great, unlocks are great. The fact you can tackle the boss rush mode or the speed challenges keeps you playing. So fantastic all around there. As for the misses, it's a shame that the level design is a mixed bag. There are a few really cool parts in there. You just wish they did more of it. But as you've seen from the 3 levels I've shown you on here, or maybe 4, they're very samey. Apart from them looking different, if you just took all the aesthetic away and you just had them all as blocks, you wouldn't be able to tell them different. There isn't enough kind of difference in the levels to make you remember one level from another. The foot sections just get old really quickly because they don't do anything interesting with them. They don't keep them going. There's not enough different. As you saw, they come to an end very quickly. There's not much to them, so it's almost to the point. It's like, what's the point? They should have done something more interesting. I think they were worried about people getting fed up outside of it, but in that case, take it out. It would have been good if they would have kept things in there and done more with the on-foot sections. They spend a fair amount of story moments on the story. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's very predictable. Doesn't do anything exciting. And that's a shame, because that could have sort of rescued a lot of its downfalls in other areas if it just made all the time that you spent on the story and the intrigue of where it thought it might be going and made it a little better. But it doesn't really do too much, which is a shame.